They say failure is a stepping stone. But they don't tell you how heavy those stones can feel when you're carrying 3 of them and the weight is crushing your chest. This isn't a story about overnight success. It's about a young man who fell flat on his face 3 times before the world even looked in his direction. But when it finally did, it saw something unshakable, because failure didn't destroy him, it refined him. His name was Jason Miller. Born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he grew up in a middle-class family that lived paycheck to paycheck. His dad drove trucks. His mom was a nurse who worked double shifts. Jason was the kid who sold candy in the school hallways, not because he was hustling for fun, but because he wanted to help with the light bill. He was smart, curious, and restless, not the kind to wait around for life to hand him an opportunity. So at 18, fresh out of high school, Jason decided college wasn't for him. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. And that decision, while bold, was about to put him on a path where the road would break 3 times before it led anywhere. Jason's first venture was an online t-shirt store. He designed graphics on a borrowed laptop, ordered a small batch from a print shop, and built a website from scratch. He stayed up until 3 a.m. most nights, watching YouTube tutorials on e-commerce. But enthusiasm doesn't pay for ads. He spent his last $600 on Facebook campaigns that barely reached anyone. When the packages arrived, they sat in boxes in his bedroom. He sold 12 shirts to friends and family. The rest collected dust. When the store closed, Jason avoided talking about it. His friends went to college football games and posted pictures of dorm life. Jason stayed home, feeling like maybe he'd made the wrong call. At 20, Jason heard about a gap in the market, a scheduling app for freelancers. He found a developer overseas, scraped together $3,000 from odd jobs, and poured his heart into building the concept. 6 months in, the developer disappeared. Code half finished. Money gone. Jason sat at his desk staring at an email that read, "Sorry, I can't continue." That night, he lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling, wondering if maybe his entrepreneur dream was just immaturity wearing ambition as a mask. At 22, Jason tried again. This time, a social media marketing agency. He cold called local businesses, pitched them on running their ads, and landed 2 small clients. For a moment, it felt like things were turning. But when one client shut down their store and the other stopped paying, Jason was back at 0. Worse, he owed $1,200 for ad spend he'd fronted himself. That night, his mom found him at the kitchen table, head in his hands. "Jason," she said softly, "maybe it's time to get a steady job, just for now." He nodded, but something in him refused to quit. Instead of launching another big idea right away, Jason decided to learn. He devoured books on business, took free online courses on marketing, sales, and copywriting, listened to hours of podcasts about startups. He stopped looking for the next big thing and started building skills he could use for anything. He freelanced, writing ad copy for small brands, running social media accounts, and building websites. Each gig taught him something new, not just about business, but about himself. At 24, Jason saw a trend. Eco-friendly personal care products were blowing up, but most were overpriced. He wondered, what if he could make them affordable and high quality? This time, he didn't rush. He researched suppliers, tested samples, and built a small but loyal audience on TikTok by posting behind-the-scenes videos. He invested $5,000, money he'd saved from freelancing, into his first bulk order. The launch? Sold out in 3 days. He restocked. Sold out again. By month 6, he'd crossed $100,000 in revenue. At 25, Jason's company hit $1.2 million in sales. He hired a small team, rented a modest office, and finally, felt like the years of failure had meant something. Because without the failed t-shirt store, he wouldn't have learned design. Without the broken app deal, he wouldn't have learned due diligence. Without the collapsed agency, he wouldn't have mastered ads. Jason often says this when speaking at events. "I failed 3 times before I succeeded once." But that one time was enough to change everything. Don't let your failed chapters convince you the story is over. Every mistake you survive is just another tool for the next attempt. One day you'll look back and see that the failures were building you, brick by brick, into the person who could finally win. So if you've fallen flat, if you've been embarrassed, if you've had to start over more times than you can count, remember this: it only takes one yes to erase 100 no's, one win to make the failures worth it. Your job is to keep going until it's your turn. If Jason's journey lit a fire in you, take one step today, however small, toward that idea you can't stop thinking about. Then drop your step in the comments so someone else can see what taking action looks like. And if you want more real stories that prove success doesn't happen overnight, hit subscribe. Your failures aren't the end. They're the foundation.